In this video, I am going to break down how to go from beginning all the way to a seven-figure, multi-million dollar career coaching business and the order of problems that you need to solve to get you to the smoothest path to be able to build a more profitable, scalable, and impactful career coaching business. I'm going to walk you through the train of thought so that you can unlock the 10 different levels that you need to be able to beat in order to build your dream business. If we have not yet met, my name is Daniel Botero. I am the founder of Opni. I've been a career coach for over 10 years. I've helped thousands of job seekers land their dream job, have done millions of dollars in revenue, and I make videos like this to help fellow career coaches build a more profitable, impactful, and scalable business. And what I wanted to share with you all today is a graph that my team and I made called the Theory of Constraints Chart, how to build a $1 million career coaching business. And in this graph, I am going to walk you through the 10 different bottlenecks that we need to solve in order to be able to focus on scaling and doing multiple seven figures. But this graph alone is divided into three main phases, and each phase unlocks a major part of building that business. Phase one should help you get to a multiple six figures. Phase two should help you get to seven figures, and phase three is all about getting you to multiple seven figures. And I wanted to share this because this is a graph that we use with our clients to help them identify what is their bottleneck that they need to be solving for first, because there's no point of solving, for example, legal and client success if you don't even have money or clients in the first place. So let's dive into the video and let's go over the 10 different problems or obstacles or bottlenecks that we need to solve in order to build a more profitable, impactful, and scalable career coaching business that does over six figures to seven figures a year in sales. So let's talk about where to start. And I'm going to just really focus on this view. So when to start, it actually doesn't start with anything about business. It actually starts with, are you ready, you personally ready to be a career coach and be a business owner? And a lot of this has to do is your personalized optimized? What do I mean by that? It's important to not rush into wanting to start a business just for the sake of, I want to be an entrepreneur. I think that people on social media are doing amazing and they're becoming millionaires overnight. And so you are in this FOMO of wanting to do that. Before you make this crazy sacrifice that you're about to make, before you ride this entrepreneurship roller coaster, it is important that you are prepared for it. So here's what I need you to ask yourself. Do you have enough knowledge and experience to be a career coach, right? If you think that you just graduated because you landed an internship, that you're going to be able to help people land their dream job, I would tell you to think twice, maybe get some experience, maybe become a certified career coach, but it's important to get experience first. But if you've been a recruiter, a hiring manager, you've been in the workforce for 10 years plus, and you feel confident in your ability to help people land jobs, then let's move on to the next question. Second, do you have over 6 months of cash reserves just in a worst case scenario? And the reason why I want to make sure you have some sort of reserves is because if there's one thing, and there's one thing that's certain about starting a business, is the uncertainty that you are going to feel. And it doesn't matter if you work with me and my team, or if you're doing this all by yourself, or you just hired to want to work with another coach, or if you decide to work with another coach. It's important that you understand that things will go wrong. Not everything will work out as planned, and rarely do you actually hit projections. So making sure that you have a safety blanket is important, because when things don't start not going your way and you start stressing about money because you thought you gave yourself 1 month or 2 months because someone sold you a pipe dream, then you'll start making decisions out of desperation, and that's not the spot you want to be at. It's also really important that you have a strong support system. It's important to have people, family, friends, fellow entrepreneurs that can help you with the psychological situations that you will go through this. I would be honest with you guys, my first 3 years of business were tough, and it's what my close friends and wife called the dark ages. I was a different person, I had a lot of anxiety, and it's important that you have a system to support you there. Which goes to, are you mentally prepared for all the uncertainty, the ups and downs that will ultimately pay off if you stay on it? And lastly, do you have at least 20 hours a week to work on this business? This is not a I work 5 hours a week and make $200,000 type of business. Not, at least not right away. So it's really important that you understand and allocate time to do this successfully. If you answer yes to all of this, then congratulations, my friends. You are set to start this journey as an entrepreneur, career coach, and build this business. Let's move on to level number 2. This is, do you have a world-class offer? It is really important that you keep it simple in the beginning, that you niche down, because the riches are in the niches. The only way that you're going to be able to beat Goliath is if you are niching down. And the best niches are helping people that have a similar background as you, that you've been there, done that. So do you have a clear niche? Do you have a value-based pricing? Stop trading your time for money, but trade your time for value. Do you have a guarantee that lowers the risk of people working with you? For example, I will work with you until you get a job. And do you have any social proof or testimonials that shows what you bring to the table? If you are struggling with this, then it's okay to take a couple of months, take some free bono clients, start figuring out your niche, get some testimonials on your LinkedIn, get some video testimonials on your website before you move on. Trying to go too fast and without having the enough social proof will slow you down and hurt you in the long term. And I wouldn't even quit your job if you have a full-time job or even a part-time job until you have gotten enough social proof where getting clients is no longer an issue. Number 2, do you have a predictable way of generating leads? Okay, you have a world offer, right? But are you getting leads? Or are you just checking your LinkedIn email or messages, DMs, and waiting for people to message you saying they are interested in working with you? If that is the case, then we need to be able to generate some predictability in your business. And this is where a solid LinkedIn strategy comes in. Do you have a good LinkedIn profile? Not a resume profile like what we teach job seekers to do, but is your LinkedIn optimized like a landing page? Number 2, do you have a solid LinkedIn strategy that is generating more inbound, predictable inbound, that is generating warm outbound, and is getting people to position you as a thought leader? Do you have a good messaging inbound, so you're messaging people, you're the one starting the conversation and getting them to the funnel? And do you have a good outbound messaging, cold outbound, people who are your avatar? If you can say, Daniel, yes, I am getting at least 20 to 100 leads every single week, then congratulations, this is not the bottleneck for you right now. We can move on to the next stage. Now that you have leads, are you able to convert at least 15% of those leads into qualified sales calls? And what I mean by qualified is, are the people you're having calls with about potentially working with you, are they your ideal avatar, part of your niche? And are they willing to pay for this, right? So this is where having a good CRM to track and follow up to ensure that you're not forgetting to message them and follow up with particular leads. This is where having a good lead magnet, whether it's newsletter, a community, or webinar that teaches them a little bit more about what you do and why you're qualified to solve their job seeking needs. And do you have a proper follow-up sequence that reminds them through emails, text messages, DMs, that will allow systematically to generate those leads into sales calls? If you are getting, so for example, if you're getting 100 leads here, and that's generating 15 sales calls a week here, then that is what I'm talking about, predictability. Now, one week will you have 120 leads, and then another week you'll have 20 sales calls? Yes. And another time you might have 50 leads, and then here you might have 6 sales calls. That's okay. But what we're looking for is that overall, even though there's little ups and downs, that it becomes predictable, that you're going to have an average that you feel comfortable managing. Now, once you're having those sales calls, the next question or the next level that we want to essentially beat and master is, out of the sales calls that you're having, are they qualified, right? Do they have the background needed for you to help them? Are they in the country location that you have? Are they in the industry that you have? And if they are they showing up to the sales call? If they're not showing up to at least 80% of your sales call, then there is a lot of opportunity to message them, to remind them, to show them the social proof, for them to like respect you after booking the call. So this is where this part of the level is understanding, A, if they're not qualified enough, where in this process can we make sure that we are qualifying them, that we're asking them the right questions, that we're writing content to that particular audience, and B, are we reminding them? Is there a level of of videos, like educating them, warming up your leads so that they are seeing the value of coming and working with you? If those are yeses, then we move on to sales. And the key here is, are you getting 25% of the sales calls that you take with qualified leads turning into paying clients at a high ticket offer? If the answer is no, then we need to review the script, understand how to overcome objections. We need to rethink the offer if that's not the case. And we need to make sure that we're collecting at least 33% on average of the program's value. There's one thing that is like, you can always sell your program if you're having them pay $1 up front and then $5,000 when they get the job, but will you ever collect that? So it's this balance between how much money can you collect up front, but what's realistic to your clients and audience or avatar to be able to pay you. But the metric here and the good benchmark, I would say a good career coach should be able to close out at 25%. I've seen people close at 40, 45, 50%, and I've also seen people in the single digits. But you're not going to be able to scale this business and eventually hire a salesperson to take over this for you if you cannot guarantee him a set number of sales calls and give him a script that will be able to help them close at 25% or higher. And that's where it becomes really important. And this is where phase one ends, because phase one, the biggest bottlenecks that we are solving in phase one is making sure that you have what it takes to generate predictable number of leads, to be able to turn those leads into sales calls, and to be able to convert a quarter of those sales calls into paying clients. And if I can give you some benchmarking on how this could look, let's say that our goal was to get one client a week, right? So if we're doing one client a week, that means that we need to have scheduled 5 sales calls, because 80% show up rate, that means out of those 5 people that schedule calls, 4 of them will show up, and a 25% close rate, 1 will become client. Well, if we need 5 sales calls, then we know that we need, if I get 15%, right, of that, you know that we're going to need enough leads within our lead magnet to be able to schedule. My favorite lead magnet, and we will put a video link below here, is doing a webinar. And on our webinars, 50% of the people that register schedule a call. So which means that if we need 50% of them to schedule a call, we need 10 people to attend that webinar. And if 10 people to attend, we need 20 people to register. And if we want 20 people to register, we need 40 new leads. So for us to get one client a week at $5,000 price point, which will allow us to build a $250,000 business, we will need 40 new leads, which means 20 people register, which means 10 people attend, right? Which means 5 schedule call at an 80% show up rate, 4 show up, and 1 becomes a client. So we need 40 leads to get 1 client. And I know that if you haven't even started this, or you're just or you're currently just working on inbound leads, you might think that there's a lot of leads per 1 client. But the reality is that you can't just, unless you have a massive social media following and massive social proof, you waiting for inbound leads to come is not a scalable business. And that is why outbound messages are going to be the key to be able to generate predictability. So you're not just waiting there for answers, predictability, and then grow your business. And that's what I would consider your phase one. Phase one is how you get to a point where you are now, let me just make this more realistic. This is phase one, where you are now able to generate a predictable number of clients. If we can get 1 client a week, that is 4 a month, that's $20,000 a month, that's $240,000 a year. And now we can focus on client success to say, okay, how do we then now grow client success? Because now we know we need 40 leads to get 1 client, 80 leads to get us 2 clients, So that's a $500,000 business. So now we need 120 leads to generate a $1 million business. You guys see the point here? So phase 2 now is focused on client success and operations, which the next question that we should be thinking through is, can you onboard and effectively deliver your program to 10 new clients per month? Remember, here so far, it's just been a lot of one-on-one. We haven't been really focused on client success. Everything you're doing has been kind of non-scalable. It's just been, hey, they're paying you for one-on-one support, and then you're delivering that service. Here, we got to figure out how to do this in a scale, and that's where are we optimizing onboarding SOP? Are we restructuring from one-on-one and building a hybrid program? How long is it taking for your clients to finish the program? And can you handle all your coaching calls yourself? Or is this the stage of the business where you want to start bringing in some coaches, some support, some freelance recruiters to be able to support you there? This, even though it's only one box, can take 3 to 6 months to build out, because it does take time to build a really quality service. But let me tell you, this is going to be the linchpin and what will make everything here in phase 3 much easier, because the better the product you have, the more success your clients get, the more testimonials you get, the more referrals you get, and the better and easier it becomes to then scale your business. So don't rush. Whatever you do, do not rush this part of client success. This thing that you need to understand now is that by now you're probably having to have a team. You can't do all this business by yourself. Especially if there is a lot of a one-on-one component. Unless you're charging $20,000, $30,000 a person, it's not going to work out. So by now you're managing and working with a team, and it's all about, do you have a really good org chart? Do you have a good team structure? Are you a good leader to be able, a good CEO to be able to take this business to the next level? And that is where building an org chart, not just with the boxes, but making it based on job descriptions or responsibility, it becomes key. That is where reviewing your tech stack and training your team on how to use it becomes important. And that is where you start really doubling down on the culture of your company, having core values, knowing how often you want to have a team meeting, how often do you want to have a leadership meeting, having KPIs and a scorecard. This is where a little bit of more business forming starts taking place. A little bit of more structure, systems, and processes become key, because that becomes predictable in all areas. We have a predictable marketing and sales funnel here, but now we have a predictable client success funnel here. Now we got to build the operational and put all the pieces together and make sure that there is systems and processes around. Once we have done that, right, everything here in phase 2 is really gearing us up to be able to scale in phase 3. It is now about finance, right? It's really identifying do we have the profit margins that we want to have in a career coaching business, which is 50% or higher, in order for us to be really successful. So do we want to add a second program? Now that we help people get jobs, do we want to keep them in a community and be able to then ultimately help them manage their career and get promoted, like own, for example, the medical sales career, if that's what they want to do? This is where we can look at it to say, okay, well, we did a lot in client success. We dramatically increased the value. Do we now are able to increase prices, right? We can look at things like that. We can also look at revenue compensation structure for the team. We can figure out if there's a way for us to increase their incentive base so that we can tell the coaches that, hey, like if they get a job faster, they'll get more money. And this will allow us to get more testimonials, more referrals, and so on. We can look into things that are expenses, like there's probably tons of subscriptions that you have signed up throughout the year or months that you're no longer using. There's probably software you're no longer using. This is where diving into where your expenses are can save you a lot of money. And this is also when we want to start building MRR, monthly reoccurring revenue. Figure out ways so that every month we are not starting from scratch and we have a foundation that we're building on top of that. And once we do that and you feel very comfortable about those finances, then the next thing is do you have the right professional support to be able to 10x your business? Because the more money and scale you have, it's really important to start also playing some level of defense. When we're small, that doesn't matter as much, but when we're big, that matters. And that is where making sure that you have a CPA, a certified public accountant, right? That you have a good legal team, that you have other consultants, and that you have SOP, standard operating processes for everything becomes really key. This is where our business starts actually growing from a teenager to an adulthood, and we got to get serious because we can be wasting a lot of money on paying taxes just because we don't have the right legal support. And for example, I would say hiring a CPA anytime you're making over $100,000 makes sense, because it can kind of help you say if you want to go from an LLC, from S Corp, and so on. And those are the advice. But once you've built this part of phase 2, then it's like, okay, now you're ready, because now you have everything you need to really 10x your business. And that's what phase 3 is all about, which is scaling. But because 99% of career coaches are still in this part here, this is not the video for that. But what I want you guys to take away from this video is to say, okay, where am I in my business right now? And am I yes, 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 yes? And before trying to go and tackle the next objection or bottleneck, make sure that all of this is checked through and that you get support. And if you are not sure how to get started, my team and I have trainings and support and systems for every single one of these levels and stages to be able to support fellow career coaches. This is what we do. This is what we specialize. We've been doing this for over 10 years. We've helped multiple dozens of career coaches, and you can check out our testimonials and our proof on how that works. We have 3 different programs. We have one program that just focuses on phase 1. We have one program that just focuses on phase 2 if you're a more senior coach that just needs help with the back end. And then we have a program for really high selective, high potential career coaches where we help you implement all of this in 9 months. So if you are interested in learning more about what it looks like to work with me and my team, there is a link below to apply, to have a conversation with our team to figure out if we can help you, and if we can, what that will look like. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video, that you understand the train of thought that's required, the theories of constraint to build a multi-million-dollar career coaching business. This is the playbook. Have an amazing day. If you haven't liked and subscribed yet, don't forget to do so. I'll see you guys later.